Okay, so I'm still waiting to see. I tried to download something this morning and it wouldn't go through. So I don't know. I'm just gonna have to keep trying and trying. It's so frustrating to see how they have control over us like this, you know. It is really, really frustrating. And, you know, it's a shame that it's like you have to go into their reality. You know, like they can do whatever they want. So they don't have to, they're making their rules up as they go. So they can do whatever they want. And so I've spent a lot of time on TikTok. I'm super frustrated with YouTube, obviously, right now. Like when I even go on there, it's like a giant slap in the face, you know. And the frustration behind, you know, the time and effort you put into building your platform, which while I was on suspension, it reached 500 followers. I was like, oh my gosh, what a fucking cool. I mean, it took a year and a half, but still, I was like, how cool. You know, that TikTok, oh, I'll just give you this as reference. So on here, it's taken, let's see, I started January 2021, and now it is April 2022, and it reached 500 on there. And on TikTok, I had my one account, and that one reached 15,000 in a couple of months. And then they took that one down. And then the one that I have right now, it just went up. It's almost to 6,000. And it did that. It went from 750 to, or about 800 to almost 6,000 in about, since I was suspended on here. That all happened in that time. So that's the difference. And I don't get how the whole thing works. Like I see a lot of people talk about it and a lot of people are being censored, and I don't know how they pick us, like who they're going to censor more and stuff. I don't really get it. And one thing I did think about, because I know somehow they keep me in a closet, because I've had so many people say, you know, like how hard it is to find my account. And it shows even in the analytics that nobody finds my account by looking it up. It's like you have to run across it or something. And, but I have people ask, you know, to look it up. And, you know, they're like, they need a link because they can't ever find it. So some people I think have found it, because some people have crossed over from TikTok to over here. But that's the thing, is I just don't get how it works, because I think that they also block certain people. Like I've said, like when I go in and I try and like something, I don't know if it's that person blocked or me blocked, or just we're blocked from each other because we have too much similar content. Like they are so up in our business. It's really creepy. And I was thinking about on TikTok just a minute ago, I was thinking it's kind of weird, because I'm going through and I'm watching videos and I'm just getting, you know, flooded with information. And I was thinking all of this stuff would be waking people up. But see, anybody, even people who I know who are spiritual, and I'll send them stuff and they'll be like, man, you get weird stuff. I never see any of this. And I'm like, man, this is all I see. And then if I send something to my kids, they think, oh, this is just one random thing. And if you send them 10, it's like, stop sending me so many weird things. I don't care about what people think on TikTok and stuff like that. Like that's a bias right there. I mean, people don't realize how many biases that they truly have. But so then I started thinking, well, you know, everybody's For You page is different, but, you know, they kind of have corralled us. Like our For You page, like we're all speaking to each other. Like I see like the same people, you know, and I'm enjoying them, you know, because we are building like network of like-minded people, it seems to me. And so I like having all of these people on my page and seeing their stuff and seeing what they're talking, because it's always confirmation. Like I've shared so many. I'm not going to share so many because now I've been on it for a week. It's like, oh my God. I mean, there's just so many. And there's so much confirmation out there when you start putting yourself out there and you start finding, you know, people see the same thing as me. I'm not just a crazy person sitting here in the forest. Like I keep finding out people are seeing the same stuff. So, you know, it has really been a great benefit for me to make myself vulnerable and put myself out there. But it's also frustrating at the same time. You do face a lot of rejection. You do have to, I see it as like ego work, because when people don't believe you or don't listen to you, don't, you know, it's like an attack on the ego, and then that can go wherever you take it. And so to me, I just like to see if I start spinning out on something, it's like, okay, what is going on here? And then pull it back in and think like, oh, my ego is triggered here. Okay, I get it. And so then, you know, it's a mastery of emotions. You know, you can't be perfect. Like, people think like they're just going to be perfect because they go on a spiritual thing. And there's a lot of spiritual people who act really perfect. And then it can be really frustrating, especially if you're just starting. And don't forget, like, stuff I talk about, like, I know there's people who listen to me who also have been doing this for a really long time. But I've been doing it for 40 years. Well, I was talking to the other side when I was 3. Like, I never doubted that there was other consciousness around us. I never doubted that I wasn't being watched every minute of my breathing, seconds of my day. You know, I've always known this stuff, and knowing that there's, you know, somebody watching over me, you know, my higher self. You have a expiration date. You can't just, I've even talked about like the weird things I've had where, you know, I could have or should have been killed if it would have went the way it seemed it would have. But since we're in a movie, it you know, you're not going to go until it's time to go, even if there's a glitch. So this, what was I going to say? Oh, so if, you know, you are trying to do spiritual practices, you're trying to tune into the other side, it can be super frustrating. It's frustrating even for me, because sometimes I feel like I'm filling in the blanks. And it really is a lot about quieting your mind and tuning in and recognizing the different energy that is communicating with you. And it's just practicing, just like with any language. So, you know, but I do see a lot of spiritual people out there who act like, you know, that everything becomes fine. No, especially like right now, while we're still having these, it's like riding in two different worlds, because when you move into higher states of consciousness, you spend less time focused on the experience at hand. You know, you've released it. You understand, like, oh, this is just a movie. I don't have to get stressed out. I can worry about something else. I still worry. It's not like I'm worrying about like, oh, what's going to happen? Are we all going to starve to death? Or it's not that. Mine is more like, just it's so the drudgery of day after day after day is like Groundhog Day. It's like, man, how long can this go on? And that, but you know, I just saw this thing, and I might have already talked about this the other day. The Simpsons thing. It said something big's happening 5/5/2020. No, 2022, and that's only a few days away. So I don't know. Hopefully, you know, because something's got to happen. We can't just go like this. It's like they've stretched out a moment or something, and it's like we're all just sitting here like, okay, we've had this time enough. Let's move it. It's like, oh my God. And but what was I gonna say? I always get lost. And then plus I'm tired of shit. Oh yeah. Okay, so the frequency stuff, that is something that really bothers me. And I had noticed before that something was off, and I've talked about it, you know, because there's a big component to this, documenting this experience, what's happening to us. And when people start noticing it, and, you know, all of it, it to me seems important and valid. So, you know, when I start documenting, and like right now, in my head, it feels like, you know, like, I used to see these, I can't, it's like a ball, like it's got like glycerin and water, kind of like a lava light or something, and you can move it, and the way it shifts like that, which, see, I can't even move like that. It's kind of like seasickness a little bit. That is what this frequency is, it does to my head. And then plus it keeps stabbing in the ears, and it causes hair to fall out. which I found that about now so much. But I had noticed there was something weird with my hair, because when I had tipped it over, I had talked about this a while back, that all of a sudden I saw it was like, it was shorter on one side. I was like, what the fuck, how did that happen? And to me, it's out of balance, you know, with nature. Like, they're pulling us out of balance. I believe they're pulling us out of balance, and using frequency and using chemicals, and everything is about, you know, energy and plasma, and they know how to attack. You know, they've got a lot more sophisticated frequency weapons and stuff like that. When you do those studies on what it does to water, and you realize we're made out of water, and so these frequencies are really, really attacking me. And some people don't hear them at all. They don't even realize anything. But like I said, that there's such a huge upswing on confusion. That's funny. Confusion and anxiety. It gives you horrible anxiety, and then it's like this fuzz and this loud pitch in your ears and stuff. Like, I just imagine it's really fucked for the dogs. I mean, Stella's so stressed out, and there's just a lot of side effects. And now I've been seeing so many other people talking about it, and I guess it's only 13% of us can hear it. And so, but they're doing something about turning it up and down, like what I had said, I had noticed, because I can hear it so well. I can tell when it's on loud and when it's not on as loud. And so then I saw where people are saying that it's kind of like they're doing cooking us like the frog thing, you know, just keep going up and up and up and up until they've just melted our brains. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's coming. You know, I've said all along, I don't know how this is all going to go down, but something big's coming. I know something big is coming, and I know you can't leave before your time is up. Like, you know, you got contracts. You can't go anywhere until your time is up. And we all came here for a purpose, and we're here doing our purpose. And, you know, and it makes your teeth hurt, I noticed. It makes them really sensitive. It feels like electricity in your teeth. So I think people have symptoms happening that don't have any idea where it's coming from. They aren't as, what is that? Like as sensitive to frequencies. So, and I don't know why some of us would be and why some of us wouldn't be, because I know that when I was a kid, I used to hear them, and I would always be like, oh my gosh, did you guys hear that? Because I would hear it all the time. It would not surprise me if they were already practicing back then of how to, you know, to do it with frequency. And, you know, they would be watching that area and see, like, you know, what happens, how much domestic violence, is there more car wrecks, is there more road rage, is there more holdups, is there more people calling in for doctor appointments? Like, that's the stuff they watch to know how we're affected and who's affected, how we're affected and stuff. Like, they monitor all this stuff. And, you know, that's why they know our weaknesses. But they also know that the laws of nature, they understand about frequency and stuff. And it makes you feel almost like you can't stay in your body. Like, they're really doing something. It is definitely an energy weapon. And I don't know if that is what's going to cause the big thing to occur. Maybe 5/5/2022 is, you know, the Galactic Federation, you know, coming in and turning off their weapons. I don't know. They really, really suck, because it gives you a headache. And I think it's making my eyes so much worse. Like, I've been saying for weeks how much my eyes have been deteriorating, that I can barely even see. Like, it's barely even morning. It's 8:30 in the morning, and I already can barely see the room. And I saw now that something with the frequency does something to your eyes. So I said, any place that has a weak point, those weak points are going to be what is attacked. And they've been working so hard on people's immune systems being shot, and then releasing certain chemicals. There's a lot of people who are putting it together now, like, oh, there's not sickness, we're all just poisoned. It's like, yes, thank God people are putting it together. Because, you know, it will go as a wave. It won't, I don't think things are going to just keep rippling. Like, everything has been a real ripple for a while, just slow moving. I think that there's going to be, as things just, it's just going to go. It's going to be that wave. It's that energetic, like all of a sudden everybody's eyes are opening and the veil is being lifted and they're seeing the truth. And that's one thing I'm seeing on TikTok. Like today, I've been crying and crying. And maybe, that could be a part of the reason. Because usually I swear I can see for a couple of hours in the morning, kind of. This is like definitely like evening eyes. But I have been crying a lot today. And something with the salt really burns my eyes. It's weird, but I even tried the artificial because they tell me it's dry eyes. Well, they freaking lasered my eyelids off, or eyeballs. So, I don't know. I don't trust anything with Western medicine. But this, I definitely know it's affecting my eyes, and people are putting it together. Oh, and I've seen other people. Oh my gosh. I have been crying and crying, just hearing other people's pain and people starting to realize like what's going on. Like, yeah, I knew the government was bad, but now the stuff that they're hearing is like they're having a hard time. Like all of us, when we first started hearing, we couldn't sleep and people were just like, we were telling everybody and we were getting told we were crazy to shut up. And now those people are going to feel that pain and it's going to be intense. Real intense, because so many of them wouldn't listen. They told us to shut up. And, it's going to be a painful situation for them. I have a lot of empathy. And but seeing all of these different people and, hearing everybody and waking up and stuff, it's hard. Man, I keep crying and crying. But, the collective has to release. There's so much energy to be released. Maybe that's part of like this light worker kind of thing. The people who came from the, I don't know, certain frequencies to try and help people who got trapped down here. I'm not sure. It seems like to me, because all souls have a higher self that is in higher realms, like they're outside of the 3D. Like your soul is not just in the 3D. You're just a projection of your soul, so that you can experience. So every soul is already from higher dimensions. So it seems to me that there's there's just something about the trap here, I think. I think that a lot of us came to just try and wake people up so that they can remember who they are. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like people have just forgotten. And another thing too is, I had seen this one guy, he was talking about all these different chemicals. I'm seeing so many people talking about like you're holding bags of food and looking and seeing what's in it and how much is carcinogen. And we barely eat any food. We mostly eat toxins. But I used to be a total sweet tea addict. I grew up in the South, and when I got to be a teenager, it was, I couldn't drink that fattening stuff. So sweet and low was like a blessing. And I would go through boxes of that stuff. Especially I drink hot tea in the morning, sweet tea in the day. And then I had my period of time, was addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper. So, I drank a lot of aspartame. And my mom used to constantly tell me, you got to stop drinking that. It was really bad for you. There's studies out that show has formaldehyde. Who knows what that does to you? And be like, I can't stop. I am addicted to it. I can't stop. I crave that taste. It does something to my tongue. And that's where I started noticing, I know there's something to these different things. Like you can't just eat one. No, because you're putting something on it to make my taste buds need it. Just like the drugs that make your brain need more drugs. They know how to do this stuff. So I freaking was addicted to aspartame for years and years. I don't even remember how I got off of it. But I know it was around the time I got my brain injury. But I can't remember, I can't remember specifics. But anyways, I just saw a thing that says it does a lot of damage to your brain. It has formaldehyde, some wood alcohol, and something else that's bad. I can't remember now. It's my brain. And I should have wrote it down. But anyways, that it said that it damages your brain does something. And so then I was thinking, oh, see? So when I went into the hospital and any kind of thing, and I mean, anything could happen. Like I know people who have got brain injuries because they were in a car wreck. You know, mine just happened to be at the hospital. Like anything can happen to you at any time. When they put these chemicals inside of us that make us have weak points inside of us and we don't know because we're so focused on the outside, we don't even think about the inside. And so, and then you have to have a special machine to look inside, and we don't have any medical practice that is not here for profit. So they're not going to fucking tell us, you know, they're not going to be giving us information we need. They're just directing us towards what pill to take. So, you know, if I had already weakness in my brain, like maybe, you know, I was going to get early set Alzheimer's like my aunt did, or maybe I was going to, you know, get MS. I don't know. It could have been anything. I was having, at the time, when I was going to the doctor, I kept getting tested for MS before my brain injury. When I was taking all these meds for my scoliosis and because that gave you migraines, and then you need this, and then you need that, and then this, and this, and oh my God, it's fucking ridiculous. But when I was taking, taking the pills that, it just made me sicker and sicker, but what was not what I was going to say. I was going to say something. So anyways, if it did make my mind weaker, because, not my mind, but my, whatever that got damaged. I don't know, like the sac around your brain. I don't know what this stuff eats away, like wood alcohol and formaldehyde in your brain. I don't know what it does. But then go in the hospital and then they, you know, drain all the fluid out and left my brain there with no fluid, which your brain has to have fluid, but also because it's a vacuum sealed system, then, you know, it was sucking my brain because it had nothing else to suck. So it was sucking my brain down into my spinal. And the only reason I'm alive is because it wasn't my time to go. I mean, things happen the way they're supposed to happen. But I bet you that it has something to do with the chemicals that were in my brain already. Like it already was, anything that could happen could have caused serious damage, you know? Like, I really think that some of us are more affected by some of these chemicals than other people. But, I mean, no matter what, I mean, things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. Like, a lot of people who start having this herniation, they die. People, I mean, you know about people who have, what are those things called? Their brain bleeds. They're called, it's like somebody can all of a sudden have a headache and then they can be dead in seconds. And it's not a stroke. It's kind of like a stroke, but it's not the same kind of mechanics. It's brain embolism. So it's kind of like a stroke, but a stroke isn't, they're like two separate things. So people with brain embolisms, I mean, usually they become just like vegetables. Like, I don't know how many people there are out there that went through what my brain went through. So I'm not saying like, oh, my brain was a weak ass bitch. I mean, I think it went through a really hard thing that a lot of brains wouldn't go through. And you know what's even crazy too is that how the doctors were just like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Your brain will fill back up. They didn't tell me to be careful or anything. And even when I was walking, I could feel my brain rattling around. It was horrible. It was like bone on bone. It was fucking horrible. And then after I told them, because it takes like a month or two to fill it back up. And after I told them that my kids kept saying I had dementia, and they kept saying that, oh, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. They just wouldn't even acknowledge what they had done. And then how they just covered up. Like, I've seen so much corruption in this system. It's been made so apparent to me. And, you know, even when they were saying that about the brain injury, the hospital itself was using the defense of pharmaceuticals. They said because I was taking Topamax, that was what gave me a brain injury. And so when the system is using its own self to scapegoat its own self, Like, these people don't know what they're doing. It has been a mistake all the time since we've trusted them. And then when you start finding out, it's the same people who own the pharmaceutical companies, own the weed killer companies and shit. Like, the same ones who are doing the gene therapy to our food. Like, oh man. I'm just glad people are waking up and seeing the truth that's out there, because, you know, the system is collapsing. It's exposing itself and it's collapsing, and we're just the witnesses to it. But it's us that has to rebuild after this. We are the ones who have to see and want something more. You know, we're the ones who have to set the priorities for the future. We are the future. They are the past. They're just going to be a part of our history. So anyways, hopefully this will go on and be posted, and I'll be back to normal. We'll see. Talk to you later. Bye.